Beautiful. Thank you, Christine. So I want to acknowledge beautiful Christine here. That song was channeled. She came up with the song after hearing about the title and listening to what we're going to talk about, which is the word curiosity. So thank you, Christine, for that's beautiful.
It's going to grow. We're going to get used to it. But it really was channeled when I listened to Evelyn's message for today and carrying us home and finding the key. And I just thought, oh my gosh. And it came to me last night. So
we're the first to hear it. It's the debut for this song.
We're always the first here, right?
Beautiful. And where is God's house? It's within, right? That's why we do the meditation experience. We want to embody the experience of God within ourselves, first and foremost. So today's talk, I have the clicker today. It's very exciting because I feel like I have power. And let's hope it works, because I don't know. I should have tested this out beforehand, and I didn't get a chance to. So, truly surrender. God's in charge. It's all good. So who here likes cats? All right. I am a huge cat fan as well. I have two kitties. So the topic today is curiosity, and I thought this was the perfect picture, right? All right. So curiosity is the key that guides us home. It's a sacred journey of healing, of self-love, and divine connection. And when Sarah read the introduction, I had forgotten what I submitted, and she said, oh, she does storytelling. I'm like, all right, I'm going to tell a lot of stories today. So I hope you enjoy my stories. It'll be kind of fun. So here goes. All right, so the first question I have for you is, have you ever, remember when you were a kid, have you ever been told that curiosity killed the cat? Yeah. This is fun. Yes, curiosity is dangerous is what I was going to say. Yes, curiosity did kill the cat because it's dangerous, right? The kitty might lose it. So essentially, it's asking these too many questions could really be not so good. I mean, think back of when we were a kid in our religion of upbringing, don't ask. You can't ask. It's just the way it is, right? So asking too many questions could possibly, oh, this is so much better. You can hear me now, right? Okay. Let's see if it stays. Okay. So asking too many questions might get us in trouble. It might kill the cat. Not literally, I hope not. I don't like that saying because, I don't want to see kitties pass. Yes, it's dangerous. It might make us unlovable because if we ask, we might be shamed, shunned, questioned, or worse yet, it might lead you somewhere you shouldn't go. So we've already said this, curiosity killed the cat, but that's only half the story. Does anybody know the other half of that? Yes, right. Satisfaction brings it back. That's the full proverb. Curiosity killed the cat, but satisfaction brought it back. Okay. So doesn't that change everything? Because it goes beyond the stoppage and then there's life on the other side. Well, there's always life on the other side. That's a perpetuating pattern in our beingness, right? Like we learn a lesson and we think we're going to be broken open, but guess what? We're okay. And we get rebirth. We just finished our Easter season. There's resurrection. We get reborn. So the talk is really about the topic of curiosity and how that could seemingly be a sort of a death for you, but also there's a field beyond that stoppage, that passing, that grief. All right, so here is the question. It's a sacred question. We want to cherish this question because that's our daily word today. And I would invite you to ask this question of yourself. What if the questions you've been afraid to ask? Oh, not yet. We're still on slide 1. I know. What if the questions that you're afraid to ask are the very ones that set you free, right? We often think of curiosity as a way to learn about the world, but what if that curiosity is also the key that guides you home to yourself? It's the crux of your healing. Here we go. The truth is, it's not what happened to us that creates our distance between who we've come to be and who we are. right? Because we've come to be spirit-led, faith-filled, action-inspired. But sometimes we don't necessarily feel that way. And so when we're estranged from our higher, most noble essential self, then that causes some sort of estrangement between your inner child and yourself. And we call that the shadow. So I'm just going to call it the shadow right now because it's those parts of us that we are not aware of, we don't know, we've disowned, we've abandoned, we've turned our back on because society has told us to do so, because we've been enculturated or taught to do that. So our shadow is what we're taught not to ask. So I'm going to start sharing my story. So this is called the forbidden curiosity. So I'm going to try to do it in a succinct way. I'm not going to get into details, but if anyone has questions, I'm happy to talk about it after service. So when I was 14 years old, I was reunited with my father. Some of us know my story. I talked about that. It was a 10-year separation. My mother, sisters, and grandmother and I were part of the refugee wave that left Vietnam. So I had carried with me a child's dream of reunion. I had been separated from my father for 10 years, and I just had all these wonderful ideals of family, of him being part of the family again. But when I met up with him, my dream shattered. I discovered that my father had a new family on the other, in the old country, and then a child. So I was told by all the adults, don't ask questions. We can't talk about it. And, like that might feel familiar where something happens in the family, it's like, we're not talking about it, right? So like many of us, I buried my questions, right? Because can't talk about it. And what I learned was that curiosity isn't dangerous. Nope, that's a mistake. What I learned was that there's a limit on curiosity, and that curiosity isn't dangerous. It's the doorway to my soul. Let me keep going. These slides are really tripping me up because I just like to tell stories. So, all right. So again, it's not just what happens that creates our shadow. Often it's what we're taught not to ask. So the shadow isn't who you are. It's where you forgot yourself. We often think shadow work is just about early childhood, like when you're 5 to 7 years old. But a lot of times your shadow forms in those formative years between 14 and 24, young adulthood, right? Because those are really critical times in our life. So it's when many of us experience emotional ruptures, betrayals, and silences that shape who we believe that we're allowed to be, right? I mean, think about being a teenager and how many times have you told, don't do this, or don't ask this, or whatever it is. And your curiosity, therefore, is stunted, right? So if you're wondering why old stories from your early years up to your 20s keep popping up to haunt you, this is why. Because it's kind of lodged into your body memory, your energetic body, to kind of drive your way of being. And it's not the truth of who you are, right? Shadows isn't about who you are. It's about where you forgot yourself in order to survive. And so I have a quote here from Carl Jung. It's not here. He says, until the unconscious becomes conscious, it will direct your life, and you will call it fate. So powerful. Until the unconscious becomes conscious, it'll direct your life. Like you're just going on a patterned way of being, and it will direct your life, and you will call it fate. Okay, so our shadows form when we're told. Now I got to go back and do my slides. Don't ask, don't feel, don't be. So in those years when I learned about the whole family drama, I learned to freeze. I walked on eggshells. I was afraid to ask. And that silence, it didn't just keep me safe. It became a cage for me. So the question is, where do you learn to stay silent? Or where did you learn to stay silent in your upbringing? That silence, the silence of survival, didn't just stop me at that age. It stopped me my entire life. And hence, I'm doing the recovery work, right? You guys doing okay? All right. Deep thoughts. Okay. All right. When we pause with curiosity, we begin to heal. So this talk is really deep. Sometimes I wish it wasn't so deep, right? But, you know, if I'm going to share my stories and their stories of transformation, I've just got to be authentically me, a little bit deep. I said, yes, it is. Sorry, not sorry. Okay. So this is where our shadow meets our body, our nervous system. Like something happens and you're like stunted. It lives in your body. When we experience fear, our nervous system responds. It's like that reptilian fight, survival patterns, right? Fight, flight, freeze, and fawn. Do you want to know what fawn means? Yes. Yeah, deer in headlights, like, what do I do now, right? Mm-hmm. So over time, these survival patterns become our personality. Yeah. We mistake silence for strength. We mistake appeasement for peace. And the truth is, I had to keep something cute in there to lighten the load. What kept you safe may now be keeping you small. And we forget this. We don't learn these things in school, right? We learn math and science and English and maybe even PE, but we didn't learn about emotional intelligence. So we get dinged when we're a kid growing up, and we think that's the way we have to be. It's a patterned way of being, and they've kept us small. Curiosity is the key that begins to unlock that cage. Get curious. Something triggers you, you get curious. Okay, let's see. So the question now is, are you ready to open that door? And before you answer, I know some of you are like, oh, I'm not sure. Because, you know, it's a Pandora's box because our lifetimes are so rich, right? But this is how we heal. Okay. That's premature, but that's where I'm going next. Abandonment, self-abandonment, to be loved. And this might sound familiar to some of us. So here's another story. When I was 17, I fell in love with my first love of my life, right? I used to say, he was Latin, and I used to say, tú eres el amor de mi vida, right? You're the love of my life. I even learned how to say that. So I remember, you know, it's just the innocence of first love. We held hands everywhere. It was just a beautiful experience. We held hands everywhere. I mean, everywhere. Like we took out the trash and we held hands. Right? It's ridiculous, right? So then I was with the man for 5 years. So college and then a few years thereafter. And one day I found out that he had cheated on me. And it wasn't like a one-time occurrence. It was like throughout our relationship. Right? I know. How did you not know? Well, here it is. That was the moment that I realized, I recognized that I had abandoned myself for love, right? Sacrificing my recognition, because I look back and when I get really honest, it's like, there were signs. The tardiness, et cetera. And I overlooked all of that because of love. So realizing that I had abandoned myself for love is the deepest wound of all. I'm talking about this in a context of the minutes that we have, but you can feel that, right? That moment shattered me and it invited me a question. This is a new question. Like, what is this pain, this exquisite pain? What is it teaching me in this moment? And that heartbreak became a mirror. It helped me to really look deeply. What is this pain trying to teach you? So curiosity here helps me, helps you, helps us to return to places where we left ourselves behind and invites us home again. You know, in order to gain love, be accepted, well received, unjudged, to be seen favorably, we almost leave ourselves at the curb and then go and be with other people. And then, oh, right, there's me. That's important too, right? That inner child. So it helps us to remember ourselves. It invites us to come home again. And, okay, we're talking about very shadowy places. We don't normally talk about that in the unity circles because it's shadowy, but I promise you guys, I'm taking you somewhere, and this is the path to homecoming, to heal. Okay, gotta take a breath myself. Okay, so self-abandonment is one of the most powerful patterns in shadow work. It helps you recover your true essential nature. To give away our knowing, our worth, our power for love, for acceptance, for belonging, for survival, it has to stop. That's basically it. It has to stop. We abandon ourselves to people, places, and things, and your life is very precious. Tomorrow is not promised. You got to cherish every moment, and no longer do we need to live as the not us. We need to live as the us that we've come to be, right? So when life mirrors the abandonment through either betrayal or loss, because those are huge life lessons. It's not a 2x4. They're huge life lessons, like heartbreaking lessons. Guess what, guys? It's not punishment. It's a sign. It's knocking on your heart. It's rattling, waking you up. Wake up. It's demanding you to be present and accounted for. And it's a sacred invitation for you to cherish life right here, right now, in this moment, in the midst of that pain. And it's that invitation, if you're soft enough and if you're brave enough to really hear it, it's an invitation home to your heart. Okay, next topic. What you hid to survive is now your key to freedom. Another story, it's on the resurrection of creativity in my life. So I shared with you, my dad came back in my life when I was 14. We were estranged from 14 to 16. He was in my life. And at 15 years old, my mom was still around. I was taking an art class in high school, and I loved it. I didn't tell anybody, but I loved it because, look at me, I'm Asian, Chinese, right? So it's like, stop playing, don't do art, you know. Go do math, English, science, something that will excel your well-being. Like, why are you doing art? Stop playing. So I was in art. I secretly loved it. And my teacher encouraged me to enter an art contest, and I did. And at the time, I was living in Los Angeles, and I got an award for this art contest. It was an honorable mention at LACMA, Los Angeles Contemporary Museum of Art. It was a big deal, but I downplayed it because, nobody can know because I'm going to get in trouble for playing. So for decades, I didn't touch art again because my mom passed away when I was 16, remember? And when my mom passed away, it's like, I got to get busy, got to get serious. I got really serious with life, you know, accelerated growth, like whatever type A personality I was, I just like leaned into that because now I'm on my own and I got to show everybody that I'm in charge and I'm capable and I'm old enough and I'm blah, 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 right? The stories that we tell ourselves. So I didn't touch art again until I was 45. How many years is that? That's 30 years, 3 decades. I didn't even know I was creative. Everybody else saw it, but I didn't recognize it. It's my shadow. It's like right here. I don't see it. So I buried it until one day I got into Maui and I wanted to do something, and I saw at the art center they were offering a ceramics course. It was clay. And I remember, what is that movie? Ghost? Do you remember that? Demi Moore and Patrick Swayze. I'm like, oh, that's kind of nice, right? Okay, they totally sold me on it. Oh, that's kind of nice. So I took a ceramics class and I realized something opened. It blew right open. All my chakras were open. And I realized that, gosh, this isn't a hobby. It's a resurrection. It's a homecoming. This is me. I feel it in my bones. I feel it in my energetic body. It's probably buried somewhere in my lineage because, you know, Chinese porcelain ceramic makers. Something, it just felt really aligned. So there are hidden gifts. There are hidden gifts that your shadow provides, and they include finding your authentic power, finding tenderness. How many of us are told, we got to keep it together, zip it up, right? Don't let them see you cry. Don't let them see you sweat. Don't air your dirty laundry. Guess what? Everyone cries, everyone sweats, everyone goes to the bathroom, and everyone has dirty laundry. So we may as well consciously cleanse and wash out our laundry, right? This is part of being awakened. And one of my gifts is creativity, realizing, remembering that I am a creative being. We are all creative beings here on earth. And of course, we find joy. Bless you, whoever that was. Okay. You stopped reacting in life and you start living life from a place of joy and freedom. And the word, my favorite word this year is sovereignty. You're sovereign in and of yourself without another person's permission because God's activity runs in, through, and as you. Those songs are just beautiful, beautifully paired. It's like I called Christine and we talked about it, but we didn't. It was just that coconut connection, right? Yeah, it is so good, right? Okay. Uh-oh, there we go. So what part of you is waiting to come home, my friends? Time is precious. Time is of the essence. So some of us are 30, 40, 50, 60, 70, 80, 90. Do we have any centurions in the room? No, okay. Not yet. I love that. People in Florida, I find, are the most vibrant elderly Americans I've ever seen. I'm inspired. You know, most people here are retired, right? But they're busier than I am. I love it. I love it. It's just, it's good because then I can see the other side of, you know, past midlife, like what I'm looking forward to. All right. So your curiosity is the key that guides you home. Okay. I'm gonna leave you with a few calls to action, and here they are. Okay, when something happens in your life, it's baby steps to start healing. Something triggers you, someone said something, you think of something that hurts your heart, you feel tender. Just notice. Become aware. We call it awareapy. It's not therapy, it's awareapy. You're just getting aware of, oh, right, that person said something to me and, oh, I'm so mad. And instead of staying in that emotion and festering and letting that groove get deeper and deeper, just get really curious. Oh, that person got me so mad. I wonder what's behind that pain. I wonder why I'm so upset at it. Just get really curious. Okay, and then after you get the emotion, the gift of the emotion, because without that person giving you the gift, without that person getting you mad, whoever it is, you wouldn't be awakened to it. There's no trigger to activate your feelings or your emotions. So another way, the second thing you want to do after you notice, oh, I'm emotional, then you want to name what that emotions are. So get good at naming them. And I would venture to say that most people don't know how to name their emotions. Have you ever heard someone say, well, I felt like you didn't respect me? That's not an emotion. Right? You didn't respect me. Or I felt abandoned. Abandoned is not an emotion. right? So most of us, you guys remember, what is that cartoon where they live in the heads with the fire and the, thank you, Inside Out, yes. Most of us know how those 5 emotions, right? Joy, anger, sadness, greed, etc., envy. But there's like this, guess what? There's like all of these emotions within our body, and if we can't name it, we can't see it. And if we don't see it, they stay hidden, lodged in our body. So we need to be the witnesses to our healing. We've got to name it, notice it, name it, and then when we see it, guess what? We nurture it. How do you nurture your emotion? Well, there's this concept called the inner child, right? So when I hurt, I literally consider my inner child another person. I know I'm talking in paradox because my inner child's within me and I'm talking to myself. It's a circle, I get that. I've been calling myself an inner child advocate. So when I get triggered and I'm going through this process, I become my own advocate. Okay, little girl, Mei Mei, that's in Chinese, that's what I call her. Okay, Mei Mei, I know you're really upset. Let's just be here right now. What do we need to feel? Okay, what are you feeling? What is it that you need? And why is it hurt? And I just let her talk. Let her be. I nurture the inner child. Okay, great. And then I go, compassion comes in. I'm so sorry you're going through this. What do you need right now? It must be really hard. If you could talk to your inner child as though you talk to your physical child, another being, you would start to heal in a way that you have not experienced before in your life. And it's a paradox because it's deep. Okay. You want to ask yourself, after you're done talking, after you're done nurturing, what is this teaching me? What is this moment teaching me? What is this trigger teaching me? And what if instead of running, you simply got really, really curious? When you get curious, it ends old illusions. It disrupts your old identities, that patterned way of being, and it makes you feel like you're coming undone. It really does, like you're unraveling. But it's okay, because that's part of the process. That's part of the process of transformation. There's no transformation without seeing it and without unraveling, right? So here's the beautiful truth. On the other side of unraveling, remember our original quote? Curiosity killed the cat. What's the second quote? Yes, you got it. Satisfaction brought it back. It will come back. You just stay with it. Back to truth, back to wholeness, back to the sacredness and the cherished being that you are. And so I'm going to leave you with this question. Ready for the question? You're going to hold it all day. Okay. What part of you are you most afraid to meet? What part of you are you most afraid to meet? Some of us are looking at me like, what is she talking about? So some of us might say, well, I'm really afraid to meet that rage part of me. Like, I know it's there. I'm ready to snap, right? Like, for instance, you finish cleaning the kitchen counter, everything, and you walk out for a few minutes and you come back and someone leaves a crumb on the countertop and you're like, that really gets me. That's some of us. You know, some of us might be the person who cuts us off on the freeway. That's we talk about that all the time, so it's easy to talk about. We laugh about it, etc. 75, right? Highway 75. And then some of us might answer the question, I'm most afraid of meeting that part of me that is great. I'm most afraid of meeting my light, that I know I am more powerful than I give myself credit for. Marianne Williamson's poem. Yeah. So instead of running, get really, really curious. What's the question again? What part of us are we most afraid to meet? So if you're here with someone, remember it for your partner, because you're going to forget it for yourself. Okay. Okay, so that's me. And that's the link to my newsletter. If you want to come into my ecosystem, and I have whatever's happening in my life, I share it on a professional level. Sometimes I'll share something personal. Well, this is all